A message to Lightworkers, November 2015. The latest guidance for Lightworkers, from our friends, the 5th and 6th dimensional galactic and angelic beings known as the Collective. Greetings, friends. We are glad to have this chance to speak with you again today. We are aware that you are in mourning for those lost in the terrible events in Paris yesterday. It is not only a time of sadness and shock. In the old, third-dimensional way, it is also a time of blame, of fear, of jumping to conclusions with little concern for the accuracy of those judgments. And you will find that though the mainstream news and governments are continuing to protect the true culprits, whether willingly or out of fear for their own lives, as they must continue in their role as spokespersons for your planet's dark hats, you know in your hearts that this situation is not a simple question of you see? We were right. Don't let those Syrian refugees in of them are terrorists. Hear your intuition, as you will do more and more now as increasingly fifth-dimensional beings, as it speaks to you about these issues. As it tells you inwardly, quietly, that there is far more at work here than psychological manipulation and the standard war on terror rhetoric about the need for more spying, more security men with large guns on every corner, fewer freedoms in the name of safety, and more suspicion towards those of certain religions and certain countries and races. Rise above the need to react with horror, even though you stare horror itself in the face. For dear ones, your souls are greater than this. Greater than the schemes and plots of those who would hold you in a place of fear and shock, while they draw not only their low-frequency fuel off of those emotions, but conduct modern forms of lynching and mob reaction. It is so, that what we offer here are not popular ideas with many. Most prefer an enemy who is clearly labeled. Someone easily spotted and given a clever name. Preferably, the image of young men with black hair and foreign accents who cannot relate to Western culture and all it holds dear. These are the eons old separation tactics of the dark hats, and they have worked for many centuries to hold humanity in places of oppression, darkness, and fear. It is an ancient game. Events are created by those in power to ensure that the common folk cower in fear at those branded as enemy, while a few brave commoners willingly go to war to fight those they feel are responsible for one atrocity or another, wishing to protect all they hold dear, and never suspecting that the atrocity was orchestrated by those who intentionally create war for their own profit and lower purposes. The time for these manipulations, lies, and entrapments is ending now. Increasingly you will see people asking questions they would never have dared ask even 5 or 10 years ago about September 11th, about the group called ISIL, about the banking and finance system, the fossil-based economy, and the deaths of innocent civilians by armed gunmen and police officers. About who is really behind the massive drug dealing, human trafficking, and other subtler forms of terrorism around the planet, which governments only pretend to object to. Many of you will not be surprised to learn that those who conquered whole continents during the Middle Ages, into the present day, are still in control. Far from being caught unawares by a few angry rebels with guns and bombs, they are fully aware and intentionally involved in what is occurring. We say this not to make political judgments that foment more separation and anger, for that is not the way to peace. We state this to ask that you listen first to your inner knowing, that intuitive aspect of your heart and mind that are the voice of your higher self, that you separate yourselves from the blare of the news channels and online commentary, and ask your higher self, your guides, your angels, what is happening here? For that highly intuitive inner self can no longer be imprisoned by anyone, wearing a hat of any color. You have come here to begin again, to ascend into a higher dimension as your beloved Earth has already done. And you are moving now into a place where violence and lies will no longer survive for very long, let alone generate the willing support of millions. You are reclaiming your planet, as you are reclaiming your own soul's power. You see the collective energy of humanity shifting upward in frequency and form, and it is an astounding thing to see. And so when you hear of or see footage of lights in the sky, of craft appearing all over the world, know that we are here, and appearing to you in increasingly obvious ways, and that you are stepping through that threshold now that no one can keep you from. No one can hold you back with their age-old, well-worn manipulations, that direct you as if you were robots to panic, grieve, blame, and demand executions of the nearest persons who most easily fulfill the stereotyped profile of the guilty. For those who are truly guilty are the ones most panicked now. Though you may feel that they cannot be more upset than you are at the moment, we assure you, they are in the throes of the deepest desperation at losing their fortunes, their political prowess, their hiding places, their last-ditch plans, and their alibis. And yet we ask that you not entertain anger toward them in any prolonged way. When you are ready, you forgive them for this latest attack on humanity, and all others besides. For those who were lost to your outer world are joined now, in the higher dimensions, in adding more light, more divine love, and the power of universal peace to the planet they have just risen above. They are still with you in the highest sense, and they are not in mourning, though it is difficult for them to see those who are mourning the loss of their physical presence upon the earth. And they ask that all concentrate on peace now, more than you ever have. Not out of passivity, dear ones, but out of active choice that violence will never be resolved by more violence. You will have heard the lyric, "Nothing comes from violence and never ever could," and this is entirely true. And so honor their lives and their bravery, for some die trying to help others, and all loved and valued life in its highest form, and know that your pledge for peace is a daily commitment that begins in your own heart and mind. And this is what the phrase "the battle for hearts and minds" truly means. For you are not captured by anyone, anywhere, so long as your heart-mind is given to the higher forms of expression that are divine love, forgiveness, compassion, grace, and peace. We send you our love, and our light is a symbol of the power of your own souls and soul choices, dear ones. We are with you at every moment, never doubt this. And we see upon your gray horizon a stretch of light that grows ever more brilliant with every passing moment. Nor do you wait for this. Or as co-creators with this universe, you are bringing that light up over the horizon, and beginning already, with your declarations of peace over war, to declare that light to be the only truth you will accept as real. We welcome you, though this be a moment of grief, for we know how far you have come, and all you are creating, and its beauty is astounding. Namaste, friends and fellow citizens of the universe. You are never alone.